everyone, it is your friend Riley from Los Angeles. Yes, I am in a shirt that says Paris because I am, in fact, that girl. Very excited to bring you part 2 of my saga of being bad at flirting. First off, I will be drinking chocolate milk throughout this because I don't want to drink any caffeine because it's very late. And I pulled an all-nighter last night. I'm trying to go to sleep at please fall asleep at a reasonable time tonight. I'd like to be I haven't had to pull an all-nighter since college. Mid-20s is crazy. But that's not true because I'm bad at time management. Time management is really hard, so I've had to do it a couple times this year in order to finish projects for clients. It was actually kind of fun. I don't think I was very productive during the all-nighter. I've just been basically sleeping all week. So I did the all-nighter just to kind of jumpstart my creativity. And I watched a bunch of TikToks, which is why this makeup happened today. I'm very proud of it. It's my clown-inspired look because I've been watching pretty girl clowns at TikTok do horrifying, scary clown makeup. And now I have very complicated feelings about clowns. Although I already had complicated feelings about the newest Pennywise. I know a lot of people would say the same thing about I can't remember his name. People are gonna be mad at me about that. But the guy, I know he was the guy from Rocky Horror Picture Show. So that guy who did Pennywise in the first place, and people think he's pretty cool. I think the guy who played the new Pennywise is really cute, and I'm glad that the new version of it came out when I was an adult and able to process my feelings because I went to that movie and it's a spooky first scene and everybody's ooh and oh, the little boy go get murdered. He's gonna get murked right in front of his house. You're watching that first scene, you're so excited for something spooky to happen, and then he looks in the gutter and Pennywise pops up and he looks fucking creepy, right? But it's like my body, my grown woman body was like, there is a pretty man under that makeup. That's actually a pretty good lead-in for today's thing because part of my thesis statement of a lot of the stories I'll be telling you today is that I only like weirdos and assholes. These are the only two people who I am ever attracted to. I don't know what it is. This isn't as true anymore. My tastes have evolved since therapy and finding a boy who's nice to me. But at least in high school, and most of college, my friends could tell who was the murderer in the movie consistently by who I thought was cutest. I think there are a couple explanations for this besides me just being into homicidal maniacs, because I'm not really just into true crime. I think I'm into how Hollywood depicts maniacs, which is a lot of confidence, a lot of eye contact, and they're usually tan or otherwise they're not that traditional jock look, Captain America is cute. I'm not saying I turn that down, but he's not my first pick, in he's not my first pick. I'd pick pockmarked Deadpool uh over Captain America. That's the same, yeah, that's Marvel. Um, you know, So I like people who have something a little bit off about them, and usually that's the killers because if you've got you don't have the straight jaw and the blonde hair and blue eyes, you can't be the hero in Hollywood. So I usually always like the killers because they were the ones who made a lot of eye contact. That's very attractive. They were very confident and also they had knives. So, various reasons why they were my favorite. We left off just starting high school. Little itty bitty Riley was just starting high school. And actually, my first year of high school, I had a hopeless, helpless crush on a senior. And I always do this. I did this in college too, my freshman year. I liked in high school. It was the guy in charge of the drama club. I think he was drama club president, and he ran my improv troupe. Because I got into the improv troupe freshman year. I was the only freshman who got in. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm so proud of it. Anyway, so I liked him because he did improv, which was a big requirement for me. I like funny guys. Shocker. Uh, and which might also explain why I've struck out so many times with the guys I liked, because funny guys don't like it if you're funnier than they are. They have for the most part, very weak egos. There's, of course, exceptions to the rule. But high school boys who think they're funny, don't like it if you're funnier than they are. And I was always funnier than they were. Just gonna say it. There's lots of people in the world who are funnier than me, but not high school boys. I was always funnier than the high school boys. So, anyway, that's a side note. But that basically meant that the funny high school boys that I was into were not particularly interested in me. Especially, I was a freshman, this guy was a senior. And he was funny and an asshole, which were my two requirements for much of my life. There's not really much of a story there because I don't think I ever really talked to him. He like taught improv, but that was it. We kind of did improv, and of course, anytime he was like, "Riley, that scene was fantastic," I would be like, ah. But then he graduated. I don't remember his name. Then he graduated, and I moved on to a new crush. This guy was only 1 year above me. Smart. I checked my odds. This guy was only 1 year above me. And like high school flirting was always hard for me because you had to to give you like a general idea, besides the fact that I always picked mean people who had weak egos, uh, for the most part. Uh, in order to flirt in high school, you had to pull the whole ditz thing. You know, like you had to oh my god, stop! You're so funny. What? Tell me more about that. Oh my god, I've never heard of that. Like, I know I sound a little bit like I'm not like other girls here, but girls did this pretty consistently in high school. I saw it like every day on my lunch table and it would bug the shit out of me. Like our valedictorian would sit there talking to guys like she was a brainless Barbie doll and it would bother me. And now I'm on a new wave of feminism and I have no problem with women, exhibiting feminine characteristics. But in high school, it felt like she was just dumbing herself down so that the guys would give her attention. And that bothered me because she was the hardest working girl in our school. And she didn't need to do that because she had large boobs and they would talk to her anyway. But anyway, so you had to either do the whole ditz thing, um, or you had to do the scene kid thing. So you could do the ditz thing. And I guess I tried this. I tried this once at lunch actually, because I was a very self-aware youth, I would say. As self-aware as you can be at 14. Let's be honest. Like, Jesus, I had no idea how much I needed therapy. But, I read a lot. So I knew, about an unreliable narrator and that we're all kind of the unreliable narrator of our own life, right? So that's a very high school sounding sentence. I can just imagine sitting with a bunch of other high schoolers being like, do you ever feel like you're just the unreliable narrator of your own life? And then everybody else is like, whoa. And then one of the other people in the group are like, that's when I knew she was special. Like, that's in the book of being in high school. That's the line. But I wondered if I was just jealous because I wasn't getting guy attention. I would just sit there and, like the guys were my friends, so we would talk, but they would certainly pay a lot more attention to the girls who were, oh my God, you're so funny. And so I wondered, like, and, like they'd like steal each other's food and like push each other. And so I was like, all right, maybe I'm just jealous. Maybe I wish that I had this attention and I'm getting mad at these girls because they can do something that I can't. And that, like, I don't seem to be enough. So, and I was like, maybe I'm just afraid that I would not be able to do it. Um, you know, which is like a big part, if we're late bloomers, as I would say I am, um, what a messed up phrase, like late bloomer. I guess it's to give kids hope that they will eventually fit into society's standards. But you don't have to. The phrase I like to use instead of late bloomer when I'm talking about kids who are having a hard time in high school is you'll have a better time in college. Because the kids who the kids who are very introverted and kind of pretentious and the other kids don't really get them in high school, they kick ass in college. They just kill. They just kill it. People love talking to them because all those things suddenly become bonuses. They become pluses in a college environment. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just jealous of these girls. And I wasn't just mad because I couldn't do what they did to get the guy attention. So I decided to sit down one day at lunch. I was going to do a little experiment. I was going to try it. I sat down right in between a couple of the boys, and immediately, like, I let my voice go a little bit higher than I usually did, very consciously. And I didn't call them dude or bro. I call them by their names, and I would be like, "Oh my God, what you said today in English was so funny." And then like another one would be like, trying to get my attention, and he'd be like poking at me and be like, "Oh my God, stop! Why are you poking me?" And then I'd poke him back. And I went on like that, and I'd be like, "Hey, can I have some of your chicken nuggets? I'm already done with mine. Please, please, can I have some? Thank you, you're so sweet. Oh my God." And I did this, and there was an immediate change in the dynamic of the table. And to this day, it makes me uncomfortable because it worked. It worked immediately. And the boys were all honed in on me, and so were the girls, but not in a good way. The guys all of a sudden wanted to talk to just me, and the other girls who usually had their attention, uh, were glaring the shit out of me. I was very uncomfortable. Uh, I got so much girl hate at that table because I had figured out the code and learned to apply it. And that's when I realized all those other girls knew the code too. They were doing it on purpose. There was no way that they didn't know. I was like, maybe the boys don't know. But every girl at that table was like an honors kid, and she was smart. And they didn't talk like that when there were no boys around. And I was like, ah, they just know the code. And now I know the code. And then I never did it again. I went back to being like, bruh, shut up, whatever. I'm gonna sit over here and you're an asshole. I went back to being normal me. Never tried that bullshit again because the girls were so mad that I'd broken the code and was monopolizing the table. But after that, I wasn't jealous anymore, or angry about it because I was like, well, at least the girls know what they're doing. I would get mad because this is a very much a side note, but one of the girls was very mean to one of my guy friends, and I definitely don't subscribe to anything about girls like stringing boys along. I do not subscribe to that whatsoever. Uh, but she would tell him all about uh all the boys that she likes, and then she knew that he liked her, and she would flirt with him consciously knowing that, and then she would be like, oh, but I could never date you. You're not my type. You're not cute enough. Like she would actively insult him. And I thought that was mean. It's like fine if you want to be friends with somebody, but if you know they have a crush on you, you don't have to insult them, basically. Is where the line is. You know, if they're your friend, maybe they have to they can like swallow their pride and listen to you talk about other people that you're interested in if you guys are really close. But don't go over their laundry list of flaws. Unless you really got to get the guy to lay off, and then maybe you shouldn't be close friends. But like, it was just, she went for it. She was definitely just trying to hurt him. That sucked. But besides that, I didn't really mind because I was like, oh, okay, the girls are just, they know what they're doing and they're just entertaining themselves at the expense of these dumb boys who have either not cracked the code or are letting it happen because they are also fine with this, with all of this occurring. I never really got it.